AEW All In has come and gone, and we are now on the road to AEW All Out 2024 live in Chicago. Hello all, welcome to Alyx's World, a safe space for wrestling fans like you. I'm your host Alyx, just Alyx. I didn't do a live stream on Dynamite last night. The reason why? I wasn't inspired to. I did not think the show was worth me coming up here and wasting your time with a live stream. It wasn't all that great. And I figured it wasn't going to be, which is sad. I have gotten into the habit of expecting these weekly shows to not be worth a damn. Following top tier pay-per-views. AEW, to me anyways, are the kings at pay-per-views. They put on the best pay-per-view products out of any wrestling company, even better than WWE. And All In was no different. That was an excellent show, with one of the best main events that AEW has ever given us. This year, they have been killing it when it comes to their main events on pay-per-view. Sting's retirement, Swerve versus Will Osprey, and now Bryan versus Swerve. All of them top tier A+ classics. It just sucks that they just can't find a way to follow up on the following Dynamites and or Collisions, Rampages. They don't know how to maintain the momentum. They can. Matter of fact, during my All In live stream, I was actually thinking, you know what? Although All Out is 2 weeks away, I mean, it's better than being 1 week away, but that's still pretty bad. There is a way we can skirt by and not have any issues with these upcoming shows, because they've already clearly set up multiple matches for All Out coming out of All In. I mean, we saw, I think, 5, if I'm not mistaken, 5 matches announced last night on Dynamite. Let me see if I can remember them. They announced Danielson versus Jack Perry. Jesus Christ. We'll talk about that in a second. Swerve and Hangman, saw that one coming. Daniel Garcia and MJF, saw that coming. Willow versus Chris, saw that coming. And Pac versus Will Osprey. Outside of the main event, which we'll talk about, those other 4 matches were exactly what I was hoping for coming out of All In. And I said to myself, man, if you just continue what you have here, maybe take away certain matches because you wrapped up some feuds, move some people up, change a few things here and there, we might have another banger show. And then you could use these 2 weeks to build to that banger show. No issues whatsoever. We might be okay. And man, I said to myself, I really hope the follow-up is good. And it wasn't. It just wasn't a great follow-up to one of their best shows, which sucks. And this is why I feel like it is a mistake. A huge mistake to have All Out this close to All In. When they were putting out the pay-per-view schedule around July, and they announced that they were moving All In earlier to the middle of July next year, which will be in Texas. And then I saw no pay-per-view after All In until All Out. There was a 6-week gap. I said to myself, thank you. Thank you. Because you had Double or Nothing, and then there's this 6-week build or a 6 or 7 week build to All In, and then another 6 to 7 week build to All Out. That is exactly what they need. And I thought Tony Khan learned from his lesson. I was heaping praise. I remember heaping a ton of praise on him for doing that. That is a great pay-per-view schedule. I celebrated way too soon because unfortunately, right here, right at All In, they announced August 25th will be Forbidden Door in London. Meaning we'll have another 2-week break before All Out. Why? You don't need to have another pay-per-view show. Especially if we're paying $50. I'm praying and hoping by this time next year, all the shows, pay-per-views will be on Max. We won't have to worry about paying no $50. Hopefully. Hoping and praying. Still, even if we don't have to worry about it, that's still too close between pay-per-views. That's not enough time to build and hype two shows back to back like that. I don't give a damn if All Out is supposed to be All In's Backlash. You can't do that. That's just too close together. I thought he learned his lesson. He didn't. But the thing is, what pisses me off about this particular All Out, this particular show, was that there was a way we could have skirted by and still continued storylines and gotten through with no issues whatsoever. So let's get into it. Here's why I think it was a mistake. First off, besides the fact that it's 2 weeks away and you're making people pay $50 again, that's already good enough. But in terms of stories, what they did on Dynamite just made everything even more convoluted. So what you usually do, what I would usually like to see them do, following pay-per-views like All In, since it is your WrestleMania, the very next pay-per-view should be your Backlash, which is basically wrapping up any loose ends that are coming out of All In, if not continuing stories following All In, or maybe even starting new feuds, right? And so I'm thinking coming out of All In, well, clearly we're going to do Swerve and Hangman, and we're getting that steel cage match. It's a nice continuation. I did see a report that was going to be the case last year, but after their classic match, their Texas Death Match at Full Gear, you had to take a break. You was not going to follow that up, so that was smart. I'm happy he did that. So they're revisiting it now with a steel cage match, and I guess we're going to do one more because Swerve has Hangman Page, what is it, 3-0 or 2 and then a draw, right? So I'm gonna think Hangman will win the steel cage match, which, I mean, why not? It's not gonna hurt Swerve, and Page kind of needs it. But yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Pac and Will was set up way before MJF and Will because Pac won a contendership match for that. So sweet, no issues with that. Although they did try to tease him and Ricochet, and that kind of bothered me. But again, we'll get into that in just a second. I'm trying to get my point across. They were going to do, I'm assuming, Willow and Chris probably at All In, but then they thought, you know what? We'll save it for All Out. And here we are, Chicago Street Fight. That match doesn't even be for a title. They don't even need to have the CMLL title involved here. Just have a grudge match. You know what I mean? That's the downside of having too many titles. We can't just have grudge matches. And then the winner gets a shot at, I don't know. Well, maybe you can still do it. Because I'm thinking the winner would get a shot at Mariah May and or Mercedes Moné. But we'll see. And then for the tag teams, you're thinking, okay, well, since we did a triple threat, now we just do a regular match. Young Bucks will fight the Acclaimed, and then FTR fights Grizzled Young Vets, and then FTR and Grizzled Young Vets will be a number one contendership match, where that winner goes on to fight the winners of the tag team match. So you're seeing the dots connected here, right? You're thinking, all right, and then we'll probably do a tag match with Jamie Hayter and Britt. That's not going to happen. But logically speaking, you would do Jamie, Britt versus Mercedes and Camille. And if you don't want to do that because Britt's hard to work with, then Jamie Hayter, Saraya, which is probably going to happen and probably should happen. Why wouldn't you do that? So, all right, there are logical ways to continue this. And then Okada versus Claudio, which will probably still happen at All Out because they had a draw on the Dynamite before. The main event clearly would be Christian versus Bryan Danielson because Christian won that gauntlet match. And so you do that storyline, and then you have Christian lose because Luchasaurus screwed him over. So everything that they set up at All In, if they would have continued that, there'd be no issues. The first thing we get on Dynamite, Jon Moxley comes back. Cool. Welcome back, Jon. New music. Feels like a heel now. And the first thing he says is, this is not your company anymore. What? Whoa, what? Okay. What does that mean? Honestly, that can only mean one thing. Someone else has come in to take over the company from Tony Khan. Logically speaking, Shane McMahon is the first one that comes to mind, so this is building to a Shane McMahon introduction. And this got a lot of screen time, because we see Jon Moxley again backstage with Marina Shafir, right? And she's attacking backstage personnel. And so we're now building something here with Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir, possibly building to a Shane McMahon introduction. We're not too sure about that. We're just speculating. But that leaves so many questions, because it's like, so is he no longer with the BCC? Is he still with the BCC? If that's the case, does that mean that they're involved with this? Also, what does this have to do with the New Elite? Because wasn't the New Elite trying to take over the company? So are they involved? Is Jon Moxley now associated with the New Elite? The Young Bucks and Okada? So it just completely threw everything out of whack. Because now it's like a completely new story of someone else trying to come over and take over the company. So we're done with the New Elite, right? That's just done. Please be done. Or is this connected? I don't know. We'll see. It's completely just thrown me into a whole new aspect of the show. But we haven't really wrapped up everything else before it. And then right after that, they do Hangman Page versus Tomohiro Ishii. And that match goes like 25 minutes past 2 commercial breaks. And you're like, what does this have to do with anything? Is the match good? Yes. I don't give a fuck. What does this have to do with anything? What did that have to do with Swerve? Nothing. You could just have Hangman Page go out there and do a promo with Swerve. That's all you needed to do. And then use that other extra time to, I don't know, set up other matches that people would care about. So that was a complete waste of time. And then they do an 8-man tag with the Learning Tree. Oh my God. The Learning Tree and Roderick Strong versus the Conglomeration and Hook. What did that do? Nothing. And so let's get into it. Hook has been absolutely misused since he lost to Samoa Joe. He had all kinds of good faith built into him after that match with Joe. That match with Joe made him feel like a main event player. And then, once again, because AEW has this problem, the follow-up has been garbage. What has he done since then? Some of you probably forgot he had a match against Samoa Joe, and that's the problem. So, Hook has no follow-up. He's lost all that momentum, gets put in this feud with Chris Jericho over this stupid-ass championship. This FTW title is not a real championship, and you know it's not. Stop trying to push it like it is, because it's not. Chris Jericho's entire gimmick was built around this title that doesn't exist. And that's why it's failing. That's why it sucks. You're trying to make a championship that's not a real championship an actual championship. Stop it. Stop it. And so, now that it was over with, I'm thinking, okay, Hook has beaten Chris Jericho. Can we move Hook up to a real championship? And so I'm thinking, Jack Perry just beat Darby Allin. Darby Allin is about to fight for the world title. Jack Perry needs an opponent. Sweet. Move up Hook. Hook and Jack Perry. That's a feud we visited last year. Hook won. He is a great opponent. A great opponent for Jack Perry. And they can elevate each other. Nope. We don't do that. Instead, we're doing Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong is now going after the FTW title. Why? 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 For what reason? Who does this elevate? Give it up. Give it up. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work as a championship. So we're now doing Hook and Roderick Strong. Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. And you're like, why? For what reason? And so I'm thinking, what does Jack Perry do? Oh, we'll find out. We'll get to that in a second. You already know. I'm saving that for the ending for a reason. Mercedes Moné gets a segment. Celebration, she meets Private Party. Oh my God, Private Party. There's a tag team. And then nothing comes from it. She just kicks him out. Sayonara bitches. Okada's there. What did that segment do? Who am I supposed to care about coming out of that? It didn't set up Mercedes' next opponent. It didn't revisit Okada and Claudio. That was a worthless segment. Absolutely worthless. I loved everybody in it, but that was a dumb segment. So we don't know what Mercedes is going to do for the pay-per-view, if anything. Okay, fine. Mariah May comes out. What is she going to do? Nothing. Oh, sorry, the celebration's been postponed. Let me take off my clothes. Here's a title. Bye. You're like, another pointless segment. What is going on here? That first hour was actually pretty solid. Even though I'm still kind of just thrown out of whack by Jon Moxley coming out and saying, this is not your company no more. You're like, we're already starting a new story when we still have other stories to wrap up. Whatever. Okay, fine. Hangman Page and Swerve. Sweet. Osprey and Pac. We'll talk about that in a second. Because that happened during the second hour. But they set up Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Cool. Fine. You're like, this is going well so far. Now, Ricochet has a match. Ricochet has a match against Kyle Fletcher that, again, goes like past a commercial break. The match wasn't all that great. Might be a horrible or one of the worst debut matches for a WWE talent coming in. It wasn't that great of a match. They didn't have good chemistry. For some reason, Tony Khan is infatuated with Kyle Fletcher. You can tell he's a Tony Khan favorite. And you're just like, yo, he's good, but bro, he's not a main event player. This guy is not going to be winning no world titles. Let's not get too crazy with him. But whatever. Ricochet and him go in there, have a match, does nothing. And then Will Ospreay comes out, and you're thinking, okay, so are we doing Will Ospreay and Ricochet this soon? That can't be right. And they didn't. Pac just comes out and attacks Will Ospreay. And you're like, wait, why not just wait until after All Out? Because we all know Pac's not beating Will Ospreay. Why not wait until after All Out to then do Ricochet and Will? Which will probably be at Grand Slam, if not Wrestle Dream, which will be great. And you're like, they're trying to do too much. They have to build to All Out, but they're also trying to do stories that's going to build to Grand Slam, Wrestle Dream. This is why it's a mistake to have All Out 2 weeks after All In. And you know it's a mistake, so stop doing this. Just stop. And then next year, even if you have it on Max, you still got to do 2 weeks after Forbidden Door to build to this. You're going to have the same mistake. Stop putting yourself in this situation. You can change this. Tony, you can change this. This is on you. And so after all that, we get nothing from the Young Bucks. That's not true. We got the Young Bucks talking to Grizzled Young Vets. But they don't really announce anything. They're teasing Grizzled Young Vets against the Young Bucks, I guess. But I was thinking, okay, we would do Grizzled Young Vets in FTR and then Young Bucks and the Acclaimed. You know, because that makes sense. I like things to make sense. Future shows. Nothing. They just had Grizzled Young Vets talk to the Young Bucks. That's about it. And then they ended the show with Bryan Danielson coming out and telling the world, the next time I lose this world title will be when I retire. Quite frankly, if it was up to me, he should just call it a day. You're not going to follow up Swerve and Bryan with anything better. Matter of fact, he had 2 of his greatest matches ever this year. 3, really, because his match against Eddie Kingston doesn't get talked about enough. But people talk about Will Ospreay and Bryan, and then Bryan and Swerve. It's not going to get any better than that, y'all. So if he wants to call it a day, I would completely understand. I don't see a reason why he would want to continue and come back for one-offs when, in reality, you're not going to get any better than what we've already done. So if he wants to retire and just be a trainer, an agent, a father full time, I would get it. This whole, well, he's still going to keep wrestling. No, y'all, he needs to call it a day. In my opinion. After this run, thank you, Brian. I think he is going to keep it for a while. I can see him having a return matches against Samoa Joe and against Kenny Omega. Quite frankly, I don't think he should drop this belt until he has that match with Kenny Omega. I think you kind of have to do him and Kenny Omega. So everyone's saying that Bryan Danielson is going to have a short run. It's going to end at Wrestle Dream. No, I think he's going to have it for a while. I think he's going to have it for a while. So we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. But regardless, you're thinking the logical next opponent is Christian. Christian won that gauntlet match. Why would you not turn around and give him the match at All Out? That just makes the most sense. No. They give it to Jack Perry. Jack Perry just comes out and challenges Bryan, and now we're doing that match. And I'm sitting here going, why would you even think it was anywhere close time for him to go after a world title? Number one, he already has a title. He's a TNT champ. He just got that belt. But who cares, right? Will Osprey just won the international championship, and they sent him after the world title. So it's one of those things that just really get on my nerves, where it's like, so we're just doing matches with no concept, with no rules or regulations. But whatever. Okay, he already has a title. You're sending him after Bryan Danielson. Why would Tony Khan be okay with that? Did we already forget that Jack Perry attacked Tony Khan? Why would Tony Khan want him anywhere near his top title? Does any of this shit matter? That's exactly what I mean, that none of these storylines or anything they do on these weekly shows have any merit or any water going forward. I would love for you guys to have some kind of continuity to your shows. Please. And so now Jack Perry's going to fight Bryan Danielson. No reason other than Bryan challenged him. And someone's going to say, well, didn't Jack Perry pin him at Double or Nothing? Really? That's your reason. That's it. Well, he pinned Bryan. He didn't really earn a shot. He just pinned Bryan. And Bryan just so happened to be a champ. Whatever. That's just scraping the bottom of the barrel to make it make sense. When in reality, when you really stop and think about it, Jack Perry should be nowhere near this world title. If you really think about it. But okay. Whatever. Who cares, right? The match will be great. And yes, I'm pretty sure Chicago will be into it because it's Jack Perry. They're either going to absolutely fucking hate him because he got CM Punk fired, or they'll absolutely fucking love him because he got CM Punk fired. It's going to be fuck CM Punk chance and CM Punk chance. And I guess that's also a reason why I don't want to see it, because it's like, oh my God. So we're going to be in Chicago. You know Jack Perry is going to get probably the biggest reaction, most mixed reaction out of all of them. It's once again a main event about CM Punk. It's going to be about CM Punk. It might not involve CM Punk, but Jack Perry's heat is geared off the fact that he is a scapegoat for getting CM Punk fired. And you already know that's exactly why Tony Khan put him in this main event. Because CM Punk is going to be somehow, one way, shape, or form involved. And I'm at the point where I'm like, can we please move the fuck on? Punk is not even in AEW anymore. That's why I was so annoyed with that spot at All In. When Jack Perry poured broken glass in the middle of the ring, and you're like, oh my God, dude, move on. Move on. I'm a scheme. Punk is gone. He's gone. Stop trying to get heat off of it. It's stupid. It's stupid. What does this do? How does this elevate you? It doesn't. It just pops Tony Khan. It's just a way to entertain Tony Khan. That's all it is. Whatever. Jack's not going to win. Bryan Danielson will continue the championship. He'll fight Darby Allin at Grand Slam. And then he'll probably end up fighting, I don't know, Christian at Wrestle Dream? Which is way too long of a wait, by the way. Way too long of a wait. And that's why I keep telling y'all, Bryan is not dropping that belt anytime soon. He's really not. He's probably not going to drop it anytime soon this year. I really, really hope you guys consider Bryan holding that belt into 2025. Because I don't see him having a short run at all. Even though he said he needs neck surgery. Even though he says he's hurting. I don't see him losing that belt anytime soon. So I really shouldn't be that upset about him fighting Jack Perry. It's just one of those things where I'm like, this is your follow-up? This is how you follow up All In. This isn't a great follow-up whatsoever. And actually All Out, we'll see. Because we still got a week. Yeah, that's a lot of time. They've only announced 5 matches. I'm pretty sure we'll get like 5 more. So they could probably still have a card that's suitable for this build. But it's another reason why I really don't like All Out being this close to All In. And why I was very happy initially when we didn't have Forbidden Door scheduled. He just dropped it. And that's okay. You don't need Forbidden Door anymore. You already have Okada, Will Osprey, basically all of New Japan Pro Wrestling's top stars. Freaking Switchblade Jay White. And, you got Tomohiro Ishii here, just randomly showing up. So, it's not really necessary. You don't need Forbidden Door anymore. So, I was very happy when I didn't see it. And I'm thinking, okay, things are going to change next year. Everything's fine. This is the only time we'll have to deal with this. We can forget about it. But now, we're stuck with it. Because Tony Khan can't help himself. He keeps creating these problems for himself and then getting mad when it doesn't work out. They got to get away from this. They got to get away from these 2-week builds. You know it's dumb as a fan. They know it's stupid. And Tony knows it's stupid. But yeah, I figured I'd give you a video because I didn't give you a live stream. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, you know what to do. I don't think you can can you dislike the video? Can you still whatever. If you can, dislike it, but just let me know down below if you disagree. Because I didn't think this was a great follow-up, and it just makes me even more upset that we had to wait 2 weeks to another pay-per-view when you could have just not have done it. You really don't need All Out. If I'm being honest, and I'll end it on this. We don't need All Out. We have All In. You have All In, get rid of All Out. You don't need All Out. You don't need it. You don't. You don't need Forbidden Door. But if you're going to have Forbidden Door, whatever, get rid of All Out. Because you have All In. It makes no sense. I'm not running AEW. But I am a fan who does pay money to watch AEW. I am someone that invests time into these shows weekly. So I feel like I have a right to comment on it. I have a right to say what I want to say. I have a right to say what I feel, whether you agree with it or not. But regardless, I'm pretty sure I pissed some people off. And if you do agree, cool. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. Just let me know how you feel down below. I'm going to get out of here, do all the YouTube things, like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and VENMO. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time right here in Alyx's world. The place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace out.